Well, hello peeps! Today I have for you my top 5 melees for PvP going into the war within, and I think at this point it's pretty safe to give my opinion and give my thoughts, since I'm pretty sure design-wise not much is gonna happen, and yeah, things are pretty much set in stone at this point. Now additionally, we are gonna have a few dishonorable and honorable mentions, and I think it's fair to start with those. Starting with our first dishonorable mention, which is unfortunately gonna be Havoc Demon Hunter. Now, the first thing and the kind of the minor thing is really the fact that it's going to be the same exact spec going into the war within, same exact class as far as like the Demon Hunter, Havoc trees, talent trees and such. This will definitely something that's going to feel very bad in the pre-patch in my opinion, because in the pre-patch, right, we're not going to have the access to the hero talents. And the actual second problem is actually the hero talents. Unfortunately, one is kind of underwhelming. And also both suffer, I think, design issues. Aldrachi River just has the stacking modifier thing. I'm gonna put that up on the screen if you haven't seen the video, but it just has a stacking modifier problem. They have kind of tried to tune it down, and now I think it's the River's Mark is now like 24%, right, instead of being like 30%, and the Thrill of the Hunt buff is like 20% damage and healing, but I still think at 46% damage amplification, this is just too much, and something that's gonna feel very awkward when you're not able to you know, you mistakenly, right, don't apply your River's Mark at the doubled kind of strength, right, which can happen if you just accidentally click or you're kind of spamming your rotation. This is also why it feels awkward to kind of cast off the River's Glaive and then not have Blade Dance to press, because you're basically stuck in this mode where you just can't really press any button until Blade Dance comes back, so you can actually combo that into a Chaos Strike. So even though we're going to be definitely playing some Demon Hunter in the war within, in the pre-patch I cannot recommend it, and unless they fix some of these issues, we are going to have some problems going into the war within. Now, our second dishonorable mention is of course going to be the Enhancement Shaman. Like, what else did you expect? Unfortunately, Enhance is a reworked spec that basically got no rework. It is the exact same class as it is in Dragonflight. This is kind of shares the same issues with Demon Hunter in the sense that in the pre-patch it's definitely something that's not gonna feel right fun comparatively to other specs, but it also just suffers from the fact that Enhance is not really good designed, you know, baseline, right? There's many issues that they could have fixed that they just refuse to fix, so I'm just gonna leave my videos up on the rants that I have had already on Enhance. I feel like I'm just gonna burn myself out here if I go on another tangent, and we're gonna change the video topic instantly. Now, our first honorable mention is gonna be the Arms Warrior. Unfortunately, they just haven't done as much with arms as they could have, and this is also kind of, yeah, you kind of have a theme going with the last three things that we talked about. It's just, I don't feel like in the pre-patch you're gonna feel really a big difference. Now, it has really nice hero talents on arms. Both of these are gonna be very nice in PvP, and in generally arms is still arms, still good, and I think nothing is gonna really change that in some kind of huge way in the war within. Like, arms is gonna still be a very good PvP specialization and a PvP class. Pretty much the main reason why I'm not recommending it in my top 5 is gonna be the fact that there are just some things that they could have done more with it, and in the pre-patch it's definitely gonna feel like the same exact specialization that it was already, right, in Dragonflight. Moving into number 5 on the list, and that's gonna be Frost Death Knight. Now guys, Frost DK is just looking a lot better going into war within. Definitely on the PTR and the beta, it's just how you say, highly tuned. I feel like still some issues are not resolved, like defensively, just Unholy is a little bit better with having its pet constantly up and just having Enfeeble being able to be applied constantly, and I feel like that is like still a slight difference in defensive, but Frost just seems a lot better. It still has kind of that combo playstyle, but it does not seem to be kind of hard enforced in a sense, right? You can actually do damage outside your cooldowns, and you, how you say, you don't have to run chill streaks. Like, I've been testing out some chill streaks, some non-chill streaks. It really doesn't seem to be that much of a difference, at least maybe with the current tunings. Chill streaks is just not. But that's actually definitely to me one of the selling points, because I really don't like that playstyle as like an old Death Knight player of having to kind of just pull my targets together, and that's like the only time that I actually do damage. You still are kind of combo playstyle, but you actually still can just play outside of that combo playstyle and do good damage by just spamming some obliterates and doing some holding blasts, right, and doing some frost strikes. Like, it still feels a lot better and a lot more like the old DK than like Dragonflight or even BFA, right, where it's like you're just a fluff class for chill streaks. So definitely many improvements for the Frost DK. Rider of Apocalypse is just an amazing hero spec. I haven't really tested out Deathbringer that much. It just feels very, I would say, awkward compared to the kind of passive nature and just the straight up increase of Rider of the Apocalypse. It is going to be a little bit more tanky since it is shared with Blood, but yeah, I don't feel like it's a huge deal. Moving into the fourth class on the list, and that's going to be a melee, a range kind of, a pet. Yeah, that's going to be SV Hunter, one of the most interesting specs in the game. Usually, I would not consider this a melee spec, but I feel like I want to definitely recommend it for melee players to try to have some fun with something that's a little bit more different than maybe, you know, they are used to. With the defensive buffs to Hunter, it just feels like you can actually play melee. Right, they might have to do some more tunings additionally to make survival, you know, survive more, but definitely right now feels like survival is surviving and is just a lot tankier than it was in Dragonflight. Hunters in general, just a huge increase to tankiness, even when you don't count the pack leader, which has a very, very broken OP talent. Now, I did do a PvP overview of survival, and if you want to see my full thoughts, I'm gonna leave that up or whatever, like link in the description. I do a very good job, I think, overviewing and just showing off the survival gameplay there. And our third spec on the list is gonna be the Fury Warrior. Now, I did do a breakdown, Fury versus Arms, so I'm gonna leave like a link to that, but yeah, right now I just think Fury is in a better spot. They've fixed one of the main issues for Fury during the entirety of Dragonflight. Finally, bug fixed the Slaughterhouse. It finally like can override other healing effects and actually be applied, and actually, you know, you can now just play a lot of more different comps and just have a lot more pressure during an arena because this talent is not bugged. It also has a really good Slayer, hero talent tree with Slayer. Mountain is not, you know, doesn't have a selling point, but it's not bad. It can still do some nasty damage, and definitely has the more consistent cleave kind of damage throughput compared to Slayer, which is very much a burst damage kind of build, let's say, right? But in general, guys, Fury is just looking very good to me going into the war within. One of the main issues is solved. They've also additionally just made it feel, I think, a lot better to actually press both your buttons, both Bloodthirst and Raging Blow. It's not really like a situation where, you know, just want to spam one. Especially with Mountain Tain, I think it's a very nice way how Mountain Tain kind of interacts with it, but even though I generally recommend Slayer. But they have done a very good job at kind of tuning up Fury, kind of putting it, you know, into a good spot, making it feel very good, I think. Unfortunately, maybe in the pre-patch, it's also going to feel a little bit not as changed as, right, some of the other ones as well, right? But it is definitely going to feel, I think, fun, and it has some additions, right? Moving into number 2, one of the best reworks definitely on the WoW within, and that is the Windwalker Monk. Just a very, very, very nice rework that they have done both on the Monk tree, on the Windwalker tree. I did do, how do you say, a PvP overview on it. I'm going to leave that up, but it's just absolutely amazing what they have done and just the ways they are trying to fix a lot of the issues. Also, just a lot of nice flavor talents, like you having the kind of Darth Vader or Sith Lord, sorry, lightning hands, right? It just has, I think, a lot of cool things. It also has one very cool hero talent. The other one is just Vic Aura, the package. Conduit to the Celestial is actually very, how do you say, vibrant, right? Like, it is visually very appealing. It is also like pretty fun to actually play with. It does have kind of a weird main abilities with Celestial Conduit kind of being a 1.5 minute cooldown meditation ability or whatever, right, you want to call it. So it's kind of a funny ability for a monk, but it definitely feels fun to use and fun to play with. It also had some good PvP talents added to it. Not much in maybe utility-wise, but just overall. So definitely a great feeling class tree, and just also the spec tree is also amazing, also combined with Conduit of the Celestials just being very, very beautiful. Moving into our number 1 spot, and that's definitely gonna be the Unholy Death Knight. And I feel like yeah, it is by far the best feeling spec to play right now to me of all the melees that I've tested. Might be the tunings, but even after the nerfs, it just feels very fluid to play. It has really wonderful hero talents. Both of these are going to be wonderful in PvP. Saint Elaine is going to be more the tanky and bursty option, while Rider of the Apocalypse is going to just do nasty AoE damage with the diseases and your death coils. So both of these are great. This one has the horsey, right, the steed for the Death Knights, and it's just going to be absolutely amazing. The Death Knight tree also received a pretty significant rework, and it is looking much better, a lot more defensive and strong defensive talents. Very little bit to do with your damage, none of those like 1 point to get 2% strength, 1 point to get 3% crit, right? They've completely pruned out those bad talents. The Holy Side also has just received improvements. We've received the Raise Abomination as a baseline ability, finally kind of getting that back, and it's I think much better for PvP option anyways, right? We definitely want this. Yeah, just feels like overall just a lot of improvements. Not huge changes, right, on the Unholy Side, but just good improvements. Again, the main selling point for me is definitely going to be the fact that you just have a lot more survivability from your Death Knight class tree, right? You have very good hero talents, both of which are just gonna, right, do kind of serve a different purpose, but both of which I think are very strong for my testing. Saint Helena was even like quite broken, you could say, right? It's insane burst with just insane tankiness and healing. I should give it a try again, but yeah, Rider of the Apocalypse also just gives you some insane mobility while also just doing a lot of cleave damage with your diseases and death coils. And ultimately, definitely my #1 pick for the War Within if I was gonna be a salesman for World of Warcraft Melee Specializations. Definitely the #1 seller for me. And that's about it, peeps, for my top 5 melee specializations going into the War Within. Unfortunately, our favorite specs are looking a little bit sassy. We have not even discussed the Retribution because it really doesn't belong on this list. It's not a dishonorable mention in any way, shape or form, but it's also not, I think, even worthy of an honorable mention right now as kind of things are. Yeah, unfortunately, Demon Hunter and Enhance are looking in kind of a sassy position, especially Enhance. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things that YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.